A spirited young girl named Tandy was known for her striking smile and untamed curls. She had a peculiar passion for second-hand clothing, or solola, as the locals called it. Every Saturday, the bustling marketplace turned into a haven of colors, laughter, and bargains. Tandy would make her way there, weaving through the crowd, her sharp eyes scanning for hidden treasures. To her, solola wasn't just clothing, it was a story. Each thread carried whispers of a past life, a distant land, or an untold adventure. Her love for thrifted garments became her identity. While others in Kanuma sought new dresses or tailored skirts for weddings and celebrations, Tandy proudly flaunted her second-hand finds. She could turn a faded blouse into the talk of the village with her natural flair for styling. One particular Saturday, Tandy stumbled upon a vendor she had never seen before. An old woman with piercing eyes sat quietly under a tattered umbrella, her wares neatly folded in a woven basket. The clothes weren't arranged haphazardly like the other stores, they were immaculate, almost glowing in the morning sun. Drawn by curiosity, Tandy approached. Her gaze landed on a striking dress, a vibrant red with intricate golden embroidery that shimmered like sunlight on water. It was unlike anything she had ever seen before. "How much for this dress, Gogo?" Tandy asked, holding it up against her slim frame. The old woman looked up, her voice gravelly but commanding. "It's not about the price, child. This dress chooses its owner. Are you certain you want it?" Tandy chuckled. "A dress choosing its owner. That's a new one. But yes, I want it." The old woman narrowed her eyes and spoke in a cryptic tone. "This dress has a history, young one. Treat it with care, for it will reveal who you truly are." Brushing off the strange warning, Tandy handed over the money and left with the dress, thrilled by her purchase. When she arrived home, she couldn't wait to try it on. As she slipped into the dress, it fit perfectly, as though it had been made just for her. It hugged her figure in all the right places, and the golden embroidery shimmered with every movement. Her family gasped when they saw her. "Tandy, you look like a queen," her younger brother exclaimed. That evening, Tandy wore the dress to a village gathering. Heads turned, whispers filled the air, and even the elders couldn't help but admire her transformation. She basked in the attention, feeling more confident than ever before. But as the night deepened, strange things began to happen. Tandy felt an unusual warmth spreading across her body. Her head buzzed with an unfamiliar energy, and her vision blurred. She stumbled into the shadows, clutching her head as whispers filled her ears, not from the people around her, but from somewhere deep inside the dress. The once glamorous garment began to feel heavy, as though it carried the weight of many lifetimes. Suddenly, a sharp voice echoed in her mind. "You are not its first, nor will you be its last." Tandy tore the dress off and flung it to the ground, but the voice only grew louder. Panic gripped her as she realized she couldn't stop hearing it. The night's joy turned to terror as the villagers found her trembling in the darkness, muttering words they couldn't understand. By morning, Tandy was no longer the lively girl they all knew. Her once bright eyes were clouded, her speech incoherent. The dress lay abandoned in a heap, yet it seemed to shimmer mockingly in the daylight. The news of Tandy's strange transformation spread like wildfire through Kanema. Whispers filled the air as villagers speculated about what could have caused the once vibrant girl to spiral into madness. Some blamed the dress, others spoke of curses, and a few dismissed it as nothing more than a strange illness. Her mother, Mama Chipo, was distraught. She sat by Tandy's bedside, holding her trembling hand. Tandy muttered incoherently, her words a jumbled mess of phrases like golden fire, endless halls, and lost souls. It broke Mama Chipo's heart to see her lively daughter reduced to this fragile state. One evening, as Mama Chipo prepared to seek help from the village elder, she noticed something strange. The dress, which she had tried to burn earlier, lay untouched on the ground outside the house. Its golden embroidery still shimmered, as though it had defied the flames. A deep chill ran through her. Realizing the matter was beyond her understanding, Mama Chipo decided to consult Gogo Miriam, the village's oldest and most revered storyteller. Known for her vast knowledge of ancient tales and forbidden magic, Gogo Miriam lived on the edge of the forest, away from the bustling town. Mama Chipo carried Tandy on her back, her steps heavy but determined. When they reached Gogo Miriam's hut, the old woman was waiting, as though she had sensed their arrival. "You've come about the dress," Gogo Miriam said before Mama Chipo could utter a word. Mama Chipo gasped. "Yes, Gogo. My daughter, something has taken hold of her mind. Please, help us." Gogo Miriam gestured for them to come inside. The hut smelled of herbs and wood smoke, and strange symbols were etched into the walls. She placed her hand on Tandy's forehead and closed her eyes. For a long moment, the room was silent except for the crackling fire. When Gogo Miriam opened her eyes, her face was grim. "This is no ordinary dress. It is cursed." Mama Chipo shuddered. "Cursed? By who?" Gogo Miriam sat back, her voice low and steady as she began her tale. "Long ago, there was a powerful seamstress named Nondi who lived in a distant kingdom. She was known for creating garments so beautiful they seemed otherworldly. But Nondi was envious of the happiness her creations brought others. She believed her talent was a gift meant to be worshipped, not shared freely. One day, Nondi wove a dress from thread soaked in a forbidden potion. She cursed it so that anyone who wore it would reveal their deepest desires and darkest secrets. Some would find glory, but most would be consumed by their own hidden fears and regrets. Mama Chipo's eyes widened. "But why would such a dress end up here in Kanema?" "That is the nature of the curse," Gogo Miriam replied. "The dress travels from place to place, seeking those who are drawn to its beauty. It feeds on their pride, their vanity, their ambitions. And once it has taken enough, it moves on." Mama Chipo looked at Tandy, tears streaming down her face. "What can we do to save her, Gogo?" "Please, I'll do anything." Gogo Miriam nodded solemnly. "The dress must be returned to its origin. Only then can the curse be undone. But the journey will not be easy. The forest that lies beyond Kanema is filled with trials, and the dress itself will fight to remain in this world. You must be prepared for great danger." At that moment, Tandy stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, but they were distant, unfocused. She grabbed Mama Chipo's arm with surprising strength. "The golden halls," she whispered hoarsely. "They are calling me. Don't let them take me." Mama Chipo held her daughter close, her resolve hardening. "We will return the dress, Gogo. Whatever it takes." The old woman reached for a small leather pouch and handed it to Mama Chipo. Inside are herbs for protection and a charm to ward off the dresser's influence. "But remember, the greatest battle will not be against the dress, but against your own fears. Be strong." With the cursed dress wrapped tightly in a cloth, Mama Chipo and Tandy set off on their journey the next morning. The villagers watched them leave, their faces etched with worry and curiosity. None dared to follow, for they knew the forest beyond Kanema was a place of legend and mystery. As they entered the shadowy woods, the air grew colder, and an eerie silence settled around them. Every step felt heavier than the last, as though the forest itself was trying to hold them back. And then, just as the sun began to set, they heard it, the faint, haunting whispers of the dress, growing louder with each passing moment. Mama Chipo and Tandy ventured deeper into the forest, where sunlight barely penetrated the dense canopy. The whispers of the dress grew louder, weaving into the wind, taunting and luring them forward. Tandy, who had been silent most of the journey, now muttered frantically to herself. Her trembling hands clutched her head as if trying to block out the voices. "The golden halls, Mama, they are everywhere," she whispered, her voice tinged with fear and desperation. "Stay with me, my child," Mama Chipo pleaded, gripping her daughter's arm tightly. "We are almost there. We'll end this curse together." But the forest seemed endless, twisting and turning, leading them in circles. Night fell, and the shadows deepened, wrapping around them like a shroud. Mama Chipo tried to stay strong, but her resolve wavered with every step. At last, they came to a clearing where the air felt heavy, as though the forest itself was holding its breath. In the center of the clearing stood an ancient tree, its massive roots clawing at the earth. The whispers of the dress became deafening, and Tandy let out a scream, falling to her knees. "Mama, I can't. I can't fight it anymore," she cried, her eyes wide with terror. Mama Chipo dropped to her knees beside her, tears streaming down her face. "You're stronger than this, Tandy. Don't let it take you." But as Mama Chipo reached for the cursed dress, it suddenly unraveled from its cloth wrapping, as though alive. The golden embroidery glowed brightly, and the dress floated into the air, spinning like a whirlwind. The whispers turned into a chilling voice, ancient and merciless. "She belongs to me now. Her vanity, her pride, they are my feast." "No!" Mama Chipo screamed, throwing herself at the dress. But an invisible force flung her backward. She hit the ground hard, dazed and helpless as the dress descended toward Tandy. Tandy stood up, her face blank, her body moving as if controlled by unseen strings. The dress slipped onto her effortlessly, glowing brighter with every second. A hollow laugh escaped her lips, but it wasn't her voice, it was something else entirely. Mama Chipo crawled toward her daughter, sobbing. "Tandy, come back to me." For a brief moment, Tandy's eyes softened, and her true voice broke through. "Mama, I'm so sorry." And then, she was gone. The dress consumed her completely, leaving only a shadow of who she once was. She began to laugh uncontrollably, her voice echoing through the forest. Her movements were erratic, her mind lost to the whispers that had taken root. The ancient tree's branches twisted, and a sudden gust of wind swept through the clearing. The cursed dress slipped off Tandy's body and vanished into the air, leaving her standing there, wild-eyed and broken. She collapsed to the ground, muttering nonsense, her mind forever lost in madness. Mama Chipo cradled her daughter, wailing in despair. She stayed there all night, rocking Tandy's limp form as the forest grew silent once more. By morning, the dress had reappeared, far away in the bustling marketplace of another village. Folded neatly on a vendor's store, its golden embroidery shimmered in the sunlight, drawing the curious eyes of passers-by. An unsuspecting young woman paused, picking it up and holding it against her frame. The vendor, a mysterious old woman with piercing eyes, smiled knowingly. "It's beautiful," the girl said, admiring her reflection in a shard of broken glass. "It is yours, if you desire it," the vendor replied, her voice smooth and inviting. "But remember, beauty comes at a cost." And so, the cursed dress waited patiently for its next victim, its whisper silent but ever present, feeding on human desires and weaknesses.